We all have gone through some failures, and this is an unpleasant experience. We want to accomplish things, we want to get things done, but sometimes happens that we don't accomplish them, and we consider them as failures. But I have a question for you. What if a failure is not just not accomplishing what you had in your mind, in your vision, on your mission? What if what we call and we name as a failure is actually much more? What if we could learn to decode the process that led towards that failure? Because it's not always a failure, it's perceived so. But what if deep below the surface there is much more to it? What if you could learn so much about you, about life, about the world, about your work, about the business you're working on, so that when you go through an experience which is perceived as a failure, what if actually there is so much wisdom that can help you not only next time to rise up faster, but also to align your goals, your energy, your potential with your vision, with your mission, so that you can accomplish things. Because it's a great thing to rise up again after a failure, but it's an even greater thing if we accomplish things, we get things done. So if you're a leader, you're an entrepreneur, you're an ambitious individual, you want to get something done, and you fail, and these experiences, some of us are better at overcoming them. Some of us take so much time, and not only that, some of us take so much time between a failure and another, but also we start to change the way we think, we perceive ourselves, we start to doubt ourselves, we start to weaken our own system, and that leads to another failure, a greater one. So let's learn today. Today is going to be a masterclass. It's on YouTube and it's also live on Instagram. And for those who are on Instagram, I want to show you how the video looks on YouTube. So maybe you want to get a look at it. And the link is going to be in the description below and also the title. So if you want to participate and see what everything we're going to do on the whiteboard, because it's going to be a masterclass, then feel free to join, click the link, or go on YouTube and see the whole masterclass with all the tools that I'm going to share with you and provide to you during this masterclass, so that you can not only understand what happens when we go through such an experience, but also so that you can find your qualities that needs to be a little bit adjusted, or where to pay a little bit more attention, so that you can avoid sometimes some failures which are avoidable. So I'm going to share with you a framework which is going to help you to understand better how to look deeper into this experience. Then I'm going to share with you the 3 steps that are connecting your inner reality with the outer reality, with the physical world, and also the 3 tools, the 3 strategies that you might use so that you can overcome failures faster, but also how to get things done, avoiding those failures which are not so rich in experience, because we do some mistakes sometimes that could have been avoided, but we learn from everything. But afterwards, I'm going to share with you also 3 groups of qualities that you might look into them, and see maybe you have one of them which is always creating these great situation or great environment for you, so that, and you also makes you to go through a failure too often. And this is what we're going to learn today. As the title goes, the gift of failures, because they are really a gift if you know how to decode them. So let's begin. All right, now let's first understand what is a failure. What is a failure? Right. So now, for those who are on Instagram, of course, you can't see the whiteboard. One day we'll make that available. So if you want, then just jump directly into YouTube, and so that you can see also all the work that we're going to do on the whiteboard. So a failure is, simply put, it's missing a target. You are here, and you want to get this thing done, and you are missing, and you get something else, which is not what you wanted. Is not what sometimes I want. Is what we want to accomplish. And we get this experience, a mysterious experience, and we look at it and we say, how did I get here? How did I get here? What made me to miss the spot? What made me to not get that specific thing done? Why did I get something different? So we can already distinguish here three things. Which are these three things? These three steps or three big elements. So let's look at them. So that's you. Then you also have a result that you're looking for. It's a result. And between you and the result, there is a process. I'm going to divide this thing in two. Also the you. There is a process. Whatever it is, no matter what you're working on, no matter what what is in your mind, it might be a personal thing, it might be something in your business, it might be something it's invisible, a habit or a skill, or it might be something physical in the outer reality that you try to accomplish. So it might be both, it might be everything. It's whatever you see as the desired result. But there is a little bit a deeper level below the you, the process, and the result. What are these? And we mentioned in the resources. I mentioned in the resources in the previous video why you don't get what you want, and we mentioned there about the resources. So if you want to learn more about how to look into your invisible world so that you can see what are your biggest powers that help you to accomplish whatever you want to accomplish. Now, between the resources and the construction, the accomplishment, let's put it the accomplishment, because a result is accomplishment is just something that we can call it as a result of the process, and the actions are right here in the process, right? But the inner experience is, so the actions actually are between the resources and the accomplishment. So here are the actions. In the process goes, it might go the strategy, or it might go your plan. How do you see the process between you and the result? So we have these three domains. It's something that is within you, something that's between you and the accomplishment. The accomplishment is how do you perceive the result? Because something for you might be an accomplishment, and for others it might not be an accomplishment. So sometimes your success is your success, and it might not be described as a success for for others, but is a success for it's an accomplishment for you. All right. So we can distinguish an even more deeper level of these three domains. What are they? So in the first domain, you domain, you have the visible, and the invisible, the invisible. What are these things, Alex? We'll see in just a second. Between you and the accomplishment, if we look at the visible accomplishment, if you look at the visible level, what might it be the best tool that help you to move from the visible and transform it into an accomplishment? Through mental process, to a mental process. You got to think. So when we speak in this physical dimension, when we look at the things that we want to accomplish, then we have to think, and the better you think, the better you can figure out the strategy, the process, or the right actions that are going to help you to accomplish whatever you want. But there is also an invisible part of you, which is the creativity. So the mental process and the creative process are part of the second domain. And what connects the invisible part of you, and what we're going to see in a second, what is this? Because we now look into the anatomy of the what is a failure, what is I, how do I organize, what is this inner management, how do I organize my resources, my skills, my talents, and what is the bridge that brings me between, that helps me to move from where I am towards where I want to get. That's why it's very important to understand these elements of what is between. So then we can learn where to look. So rather than after the first attempt or after the first failure, we start to doubt ourselves and we start to bombard our inner dimension with in such a harsh manner that, oh, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, I don't know how to make it happen, and probably I'm not good, I haven't done the right thing, and maybe this is not for me, and maybe I'm not so smart as others, and maybe I'm not so rich as others, and maybe I don't have the same amount of, if I just had an investor, that would be much easier, and if I had more time, that would be much better. So it's me, and we start to blame ourselves, but that's not the solution. It is sometimes, but not into blaming, but into true understanding. So if you look at the invisible is what it helps you to be creative, to have a creative approach for the work, for the bridge that is between you and your accomplishment. And what is below the accomplishment? The accomplishment is for you. It's personal. I've accomplished the thing. But what is below it is the impact. So now we can see this, that the invisible leads to the creative process. Your inner dimension, rich of faith or trust or doubt, according to what do you have in your inner dimension, according to what do you think you're more rich of, that is going to decide how creative are you going to be during this mental process. And that what leads to impact. And when we pay enough attention to the aspect of your accomplishment from the perspective of the impact, that can change the whole game. Because if we are focused just only on the accomplishment, I want to get this thing done and I'm gonna make my best in order to accomplish it, and you're so focused only on you, then when you fail at accomplishing it, your mind is going to play some games, some tricks with you, and is going to tell you that, no, you're not good enough, you don't deserve it, and not now, or maybe never. So your mind starts to play some ugly games with ourselves. But if you're a wisdom master, if you're part of Explore Yourself, then that's exactly what you're looking to become, to allow yourself to be already what you already are, a wisdom master. Then you become great at mixing the invisible with the visible, the spiritual with the physical, the creative with the mental. We are not just the superficial aspect that we might perceive and see. Some emotions, some thoughts, and some reactions, and some feelings in our body. That's not it. There's much more to it. A quote that I really like, and I'll never forget probably. Believe what you want, but the last leap is a leap of faith. So we might plan the thing in the best way possible, but there still will come the moment when we'll have to trust the process and just take this leap of faith and move forward. All right, so how do we make it happen? Not through the mental process. This is an inner alchemy process. So if you're watching now on YouTube, then you can see also the subtitle is The Inner Alchemy, how to start to think strategically so that you might grow and become a wisdom master and become the greatness that you already have. So you can master the wisdom and the strategic thinking. All right, so we have now clearly, I hope so, defined these three domains. is the you with your resources, which is your invisible part, and the visible and the invisible. There is the second domain, which is the action, the process, which is the fruit of your mental process, of your creative process. And there's the third domain, which is the result, the accomplishment, and the impact that you want to have through your accomplishment, through the result that you're looking for. Now, where is the key? Where's the key, and how is this going to help us to overcome failures, but not only to overcome them, but also to understand what is the gift of the failure. So we are going to jump right into it right now. Whatever is within you, and by whatever I mean desires, talents, visions, dreams, everything that you desire into the result, it's because it is already within you. If it wasn't within you, you wouldn't be capable, yes, but capable it's a little bit more advanced. You wouldn't be capable of dreaming it or seeing it or imagining it if it wasn't part of you. Now, when we get something that it's not what we were looking for, there are two scenarios, most often scenarios. The scenario A, number one, you were not aware of what is within you, and whatever do you look within and you see that desire or that skill, probably you didn't take it seriously, and you thought that this is just something that I might try to transform into reality, but I'm just gonna try. Everybody tries, and I see that others are succeeding, so I'm gonna give it a try. And when you fail, if you don't believe and you do not also understand that whatever you were looking for to accomplish right here, if you don't have a clear understanding that whatever is there towards which you are moving is already part of you. So the failure gives you a tip and tells you, look, you've got to look deeper within and make sure that whatever you try to translate, to transform into the physical world, it is within you, and it's not just an idea that you've stolen from somewhere else. Because life already knows ahead. The divine powers above us already know that, look, if you try to develop something that's not within you, you don't have it, you've stolen that idea. And you think that idea is yours because you liked it. It's not yours. And even if you get it done, you won't be really satisfied and happy with it because it's not yours. Let others to do that thing at which they are much better, where it comes natural to them. For example, if I might be very attracted by the idea to become an architect because I like architecture, I might try to become an architect as much as I can, but look how am I drawing? I can draw even a two similar or as similar as possible circles on this whiteboard. I don't know what kind of architect I might be. I might do my best in 10 years to become one, but I'll be an average one. So how can I, because we'll move now in the second one into the strategy in the second domain. If you want to understand what is the tip of the failure, what is the suggestion that a failure is telling you? A failure wants to tell you, are you sure that what you're looking for it is within you. Because if it is within you, it will become much easier after you do the work, of course, and after you put the energy into the process of the work. It will become so natural for you. As for example, speaking. I'm not a great speaker, but it is relatively easy for me to speak about things. Others might do so much work and put so much effort into becoming an average speaker. And that will take so much pain and so much suffering, because that's not your thing. Something else is your thing. So your gifts, which are within, they are the biggest stones that are going to help you to accomplish great things in your life. I remember I wanted to be a photographer, or each of us. Sometimes we set some goals for ourselves that are interesting, nice, because we like them, where we can be good at it. But then we start to think that we are the masters of it, and we can become great at it, but not the greatest. And it's not only about the greatest, but it's about the process. What's the quality of your life is going to be if you try to work on something which is not yours. So if you also look at some leaders in the management in a company, that there is a great leader which naturally can lead people, and there are others which are not great leaders, but they try so much to lead because they like so much the title of being in the management. And they live I'm not going to judge anyone, but a miserable life sometimes, or a life which lacks meaning and fulfillment. But I have the title. So if I have the title, then I force myself to be fulfilled, but it doesn't. So that's why the first step, the first thing you want to do, let's move on to the whiteboard. The first thing you want to look at is whatever I want to accomplish, does it already exist within me? Because if it is yours, you will accomplish it. But if whatever you want to accomplish, you look at it and you don't see its counterpart within you, for example, let's take just a slice of your inner dimension. If it's not within you, or you have a very small kind of that type of resource, something like this exactly you're going to accomplish, and you might multiply it through the years, but it will take so many years through failing and failing and failing. So sometimes the first step is make sure. So this is the number one. So let us write it somewhere here in a very short form. So the number one is make sure that your desires represent the accomplishment. So it's not a stolen accomplishment. It's not a stolen idea. Okay, so there's the video covering. All right, but you heard to it. Make sure that whatever you look up to exists already within you. Because sometimes failing is not failing, it's an adjustment telling you don't go there, you'll take a lifetime and you'll become an average it's not only about getting, but also the process. How are you going to live while you're getting there? What's the point into getting somewhere in 20 years full of stress so that you look 20 years older after you've accomplished it? Is this worth it? If this worth for you, then go for it. But I assume that your wisdom is suggesting something else. The number two tool that you want also, or frame perspective that you want to use, is to balance the mental with the creative, with the creativity, the mental with the creative process. When you fail at accomplishing something and you maybe try multiple times, make sure that you're also injecting enough creativity into the process that helps you to cross this bridge. We can't see every step ahead. And sometimes when we are extremely stubborn, which we will get into the qualities after the third perspective, we'll get into the qualities that you might look within you. For each three frame, I'm going to share with you 3 groups of qualities that you want to pay a little bit of attention and see if those qualities are not stealing from you your success and makes you to believe that you're failing, but not only makes you to believe that you're failing, but leads you towards a repetitive failure. All right. So when we try to plan everything step by step and then it doesn't happen, our mental process says, "Oh, you failed. You didn't accomplish because you planned it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At the 5th, it didn't go according to the plan. You're gone. You're not good enough. You don't deserve it." And sometimes we go so low, we get so depressed, we get so stressed, we start to doubt our vision, our mission, the process, the world, our team, our company, our business vision, ourselves, everything. Oh my gosh, I failed. No, you didn't. You just have to adjust a little bit and be creative. So you need the right dosage of stubbornness and creativity, flexibility. If you don't mix these two, you are going to come, as I myself remember, every single time the same train station. I'll try something, I'll get in a different matter, but a very similar situation, where something didn't go according to the plan, me being very attached to my stubbornness. And until I didn't learn to let things go, to adjust and be creative, that's also much more fulfilling. By the way, this is just a fruit that you might enjoy along the way while you're working on your business or in your project. You will see that when you apply your mental frames, your mental skills, your mental tools, and you create something, you do something great, that's an amazing feeling. But when you are creative and you come with new perspectives, with something that you didn't even know that you'll have to figure it out, and you do figure it out because you detach a little bit from your stubbornness, the feeling that you're going to experience is extremely, extremely blissful, because you're expressing your invisible part of who you are, your divine seed that has put into you those seeds, those talents, in order for you to know them and to help them, to allow them to express themselves. That's a divine experience. So if you haven't experienced such a feeling of applying your creativity into the process, you're missing a lot. And also you're going to be tempted so often to think that you are a failure or that you'll never succeed. And that's not true. That's absolutely not true. So after the first tool that I've shared with you is make sure that the desire represents the accomplishment. And of course, the accomplishment represents your desire. Make sure that it is your personal, your thing, whatever you want to accomplish, and not something that looks good. It might look good for others, but in the meantime, you're going to live in a lack, in the state of lack, in a state of not enoughness, in a state of not good enoughness. All right, if we can call it so. The second one was to balance the mental with the creative process, to detach a little bit from our stubbornness, so that we become flexible, because we are here to express our talents, our gifts for the world, not only for the accomplishment, you remember, right? Not only for the sake of the accomplishment, but also for the impact. The impact that you want to have in the world. Why do you want to accomplish whatever you want to accomplish? If it is only for you, and which that leads to the third frame that you want to look. Let's take this thing. Let's take this thing out. We don't need it. And what is the third one is connected to the second one. The individual with the collective. You got to balance these things. Collective It is not only about you, especially if you want to achieve great things. And if whatever you want to accomplish involves a team, and you have a team that is working with you, they also have their desires. They also looking for fulfillment. They also looking for finding meaning in what they do. They also have a why. And if you have a team, and all you do is thinking about your success, your accomplishment, you, and you, the first failure, you're going to start blaming everyone, your team or the world or the system, everything. But not you, because you're going to be so frustrated because you didn't get what you wanted to get. Hey, it's not only about us. And I know we know that, but let's try to reflect. Let's try to take some time to reflect upon this aspect. Am I taking enough time to make sure that it's not only about me, but also about the collective aspect and of the not only during the process? I mean, the team that works with you, but also in the world, the impact that I'm going to have into the world. So you want to look for your, if you remember in the previous video in the why you don't get what you want, the difference between meaning and purpose. What is the difference between, there are many differences, but and one is included in the other. It's not that the one cancels the other, but there is one huge big difference. The meaning is for you. You find meaning in it, and the purpose is for others. So, my dear friend, respectable leader, entrepreneur, creator, whatever you are working on, remind yourself often enough, not only about your interest. And you might say, and I know that this might sound a little bit frustrating, because when we are frustrated with our desires, when we're so focused and I want to get it done, it's hard also to think about others. But if you can transcend your stubbornness a little bit and also think about your clients, about your team, about your staff, about the people that are going to be touched by your product or by your service, sometimes putting yourself a little bit to rest and to focus more onto what are you going to bring, who are you going to serve, then you will see that not every failure is a failure. And maybe that failure helped you to stop and to reflect upon this thing. And you'll see how much blessing you're going to start to receive when you start to share your life with others. I know you can do better. I know that you care about others and about helping and about having an impact. I know that you have it within you. Just don't forget it. Just don't forget that you have it within. And as painful might feel like the salt on a wound, especially if you are now in a moment where you fail at something and you don't want to, it's hard to bend the year into listening something that can switch or turn the mirror towards you. Again, me? What? Me again? Yeah, you again, because you're special and you've got it. And you've got it within you. But learning is a process, and wisdom, sometimes we don't need 80 years to become wise. We need one experience, because if you look at your experiences also in your life, you'll see that all experiences are very similar. The process and the cycle between one experience and another, it's very similar. So don't wait until you go through 8 years of experience so that you can start to become wiser. If you failed once in your life, which I'm sure you did, and you've succeeded at least at one thing, which I'm sure you did, you've got so much. Go closer to that experience and you'll start to see so much below the surface. So these are the 3 frames that I wanted to share with you. Now, what are the qualities? Let's make it a little bit smaller. We can make some space. All right, then I'll zoom it in so that you'll have more a clearer image. All right, so let's split these 3 frames into 3 categories, and we're going to put some qualities that you want to pay some attention to. These qualities, maybe they are somewhere hidden during the process, where they're in your perspective or understanding about who you are, and they are misleading you. They are making you to believe something that's not true. Or at the same time, finding some qualities that can help us to understand what is actually true about ourselves, in reference to those qualities that we never thought that we have them, or that we are. So let's look at this one thing. Make sure that your desires represents your accomplishment, and your accomplishments represent your desires. And yeah, the conversation about desire can go for much longer, because what is a desire? Desire, it's a mix of the divine and the physical mind. It is something that we shouldn't not be too attached to a desire, because when it is too powerful, then it starts to control you. It starts to become to have authority over your whole self. So it's a powerful, extremely powerful tool and dimension, but it's also true that we have to pay attention to our desires, so that they do not start to squash and smash ourselves and put ourselves into the mud, and we start to become miserable because of our own desires. So what are the domains that can stop us from looking deeper into this perspective, into this domain of the desire and accomplishment? Ego. If your ego is not in check, and your ego is putting yourself and only you on the pedestal, we're going to fail a lot. It's true that we might also accomplish great things at the cost of destructing others, people's lives, and ours as well. So I'm not going even to speak about the danger of the ego. That's another conversation for another day. But if our ego, and speaking about the process, is stopping from being honest with ourselves, where is the middle line between what I want and what the world needs, what I need and what I want? So if our ego is putting the light on only one side, and it's covering everything else, and what happens, we become blind to our own weaknesses, and we start repeating to ourselves every kind of stories that it was not my fault, that's not me, that's all everybody's fault every single time, but that's not me. Because the ego is blinding you. It's afraid of seeing the both sides of the so as you can see, I made this circle in two colors. One is visible, the other one is covered. So ego is blinding you. The next one, which is very attached to your ego, and if you want to keep your ego in check when this failure comes, because it's not about, oh my god, I didn't win, so now I'm a failure. Don't take it so personal. And if your ego is not in check, then every failure it's a drama, or it's not a drama for you, but you become a drama for everybody around you when you fail, and you make everybody pay for your ego, which is not in check. The next one is wishful thinking. Wishful thinking, which is very connected to your ego as well. Wishful thinking is another trait, another quality that might blind us. We are so obsessed with the accomplishment that whatever we think that should be possible, must be possible, we don't even allow to see the process from a different perspective. We cannot be relatively realistic about the process. How am I going to accomplish it? Just because you wish it to happen, but then you start to think as it has already happened, but it didn't. Then you start to make take some actions which are going to lead to even more failures. So you gotta look a little bit deeper. What is another trait or quality that you want to look at? Is the lack of values. Lack of values. When you don't have clear values, you are a little bit all over the place. You're a little bit here, a little bit there. So you're changing, you're switching, and then you lose yourself, and you remember that the great accomplishment is that container in which is contained also your desire, your deeper self, your invisible part also needs to be part of the accomplishment that you're looking for. So if you're not following the path and your values are great, they're keeping you on track, and you start to look left and right for, I will close an eye on a value. I'm gonna put a lie here, a lie there. I'm gonna cut a corner here, a corner there, and then we lose ourselves. We're not anymore in touch with who we are, and we start to forget who we are. We start to forget about why do I want to accomplish whatever I want to accomplish, and we lose our way. That is another trait that you want to look into. What is for, and there are many others, of course we can go much more into it, but these three I find them the most often in my experience working with my clients, and these are things are so invisible, they're so well hidden that we're looking for the reason of our failures, but in the wrong spot, and we fail again and again and again and again, and we think that something is wrong with whatever we do, but there is one thing that is overlooked, and it's creating, and every single time we reach a point where that trait needs to be worked out, we again cross the bridge and we get into the same story, into the same scenario again and again. Now, the second one is balance the mental with the creative. So what are some traits that might block our growth here and lead to the same failures, or not squeezing the wisdom, the lesson out of that failure? Because a failure is not a failure. The failure is just the perception of it. There is an event, there's an intervention as well, and we have to learn to decode them. And these are the traits you want to look through the frames that I've shared with you minutes before. So what traits are here in the second domain? Here we can see narrow thinking. We are so attached to this way and only this way. This is the only truth. This is the only way. No, that's not the only way. We have to learn to be flexible. Or the other one, which is very similar to this one, extreme stubbornness. We are so stubborn, we exchange it for ambition, and we sometimes misplace it with something great. We say, well, I'm stubborn, I'm gonna get it done, so let's do the work, we'll get it done. That's good. It helps a little bit. It's not like the ego. It might help you a little bit to kick your rhythm and move forward, but if it's too much and it's extreme, it's not in check, then it might hold us grounded in the same frame. Also, for example, if you're very stubborn about something that you know about you, and I know I am like this, maybe you were like this, maybe you're not like this anymore, or not so much like before. So being also stubborn not only into the vision, into the mission, but also stubborn into the process, the only way that now we're thinking. Or being stubborn also into some understanding about who you are. For example, thinking or planning is the most important thing. It is a very important thing, but it is not the most important thing. So this extreme stubbornness, being extremely attached to something, also leads to repetitive failure, because the failure should give us a ton of wisdom. So not only we rise above faster after a failure, but also understand more of who you are, so we can increase our potential and we can aim higher. And through the flexibility, through letting our stubbornness a little bit aside, we can actually change the whole game for so much better and so much faster. And as I have already mentioned, a superficial understanding about who you are, about you, A very superficial understanding about what makes you you. It's a big problem. It's a big problem because if you continue to believe that you are just a body and a mind that can think and solve problems, then you'll limit yourself a lot. Oh, so yeah, the whiteboard. That's what I just wrote here. The superficial understanding about you. You are much more. You have hidden aspects of what makes you you. And the longer you take in order to see that unconscious part of yourself, what's driving you, what's really driving you, what makes your life meaningful, where actually are those convictions that you have, some beliefs that you have about life, about business, about clients, about team, about yourself, about everything. They're somewhere there hidden, that we have accumulated them through our past. And if you do not take that aspect in consideration, how to reach your subconscious and how to work with it, then you limit yourself into a very simplistic game of thinking something that cannot be processed through thinking. And from there, then you have two directions. I'm not so good. I can't think. It's not something that's part of me. I'm just not that type of person. We are different in some way, but in our anatomy, in our what makes us human, and how our subconscious works, how our mind works, how our emotions work, where our hidden beliefs, we're very similar into that. It's not that you have your hidden beliefs in your fourth finger and somebody else has those beliefs in their subconscious, and you're like, maybe I'm different. So from this perspective, we are all humans. We have a brain. That's what I'm speaking about. And if you don't deepen your understanding into this dimension, then it's all a superficial game because of the superficial understanding. So what to do, you might say? Well, what to do, from what I can offer to you can come at exploreselfmba.com, and there is, as you can see in the video on YouTube, the subtitle, which is The Inner Alchemy, which is my second program. We have 3 programs at Explore Self MBA, the Hack Your Mind Before It Hacks You. This one is the next one, the Inner Alchemy, Mastering Wisdom and Strategic Thinking. And our masterclass of today is more part of the Inner Alchemy. So feel free to go to exploreselfmba.com and you'll see how to access the Inner Alchemy. That is a perfect, and I also want to add that when you go to Inner Alchemy, you also have included the Hack Your Mind Before It Hacks You, the first program, the simplest program that can help you to create this bridge in your understanding between the invisible and the visible, and where to position your mind so that you can start to unify your whole system, what makes you you. That is the first step, the launching pad. And Hack Your Mind Before It Hacks You, it's included into the Inner Alchemy. So feel free to visit exploreselfmba.com and see how to access this program. What are the other traits from the third domain that might lead to failure again and again, or can hold us hostages into that state where we don't believe that we can accomplish whatever we want to accomplish, or that we are not enough? A very low self-esteem. When self-esteem is low, every failure is justified. Of course, I tried, but I already knew it's not for me. A low self-esteem justifies every failure and reinforces it and changes the whole perspective that you have about yourself. After which, fruits like lack of courage, and you start to lose your courage, you start to become weak, you lose your power, and you start to become probably strong, but not powerful, which is a little bit different. Strong and powerful is a little bit different. Being strong is just holding on to something And no matter what, I'm moving forward, no matter what. You're strong, no doubt about it. Power is wiser than the strength. The power is knowing when to take a step backward. The power is knowing when to admit that you have made a mistake, and it's okay, just adjust it. The power is what allows you to see the whole picture, because you're ready to see everything. You're ready to see the truth, and to that degree that we can see it. That's power. Saying sorry in the right moment, or finding 5 minutes from somebody that works for you, so that you can ask them, how are you? A little bit of empathy helps you to build that relationship and to know what are their why, if you already have a team. Or to ask yourself, to have that kindness, powerful kindness, not just being kind, but a powerful kindness that knows when to push and know when it's not time to push, and to look deeper. And that requires courage, and that is power. When you're ready to see deep within the ugly and the beauty, the ugliness and the godliness within, and that requires power. And a low self-esteem, which is the fruit of the second category, if you look now, the second category of the superficial understanding of you, will lead to a very low self-esteem, because you think that you have to do something in order to deserve something better. It's the deserving is a decision. Working to get it, it's a mental and creative process and work. It requires energy and discipline. But if you deep in your core, you don't believe that you deserve it, that your desires are not meant to materialize or to be transformed into impact, if you're not sure about it, it's probably because you don't know enough what makes you you. And the Inner Alchemy is the program that will help you not only to look deeper, not only to understand better yourself, but it's a program that helps you also how to manage. You also have access to a special workbook that is entitled The 18 Archetypes of Wisdom. And you have a clear map full of tools and strategies to know where to look, how to look, and how to help yourself to adjust that weak spot so that you can increase faster and better. So you can, through the strategic thinking, you can let that potential to rise above and to move forward. So these are the three domains of the qualities that you want to pay a little bit more attention to. Because if these things are not well worked and you just look at the outside, why this is not working, why they don't listen, why they don't understand, I'm so great, but they don't see it, why is that so? And then you're always into the blaming game, There is a quote saying, who blames others, they're at the beginning of the path. Those who blame themselves, they're on the way, and those who doesn't blame anyone has been already arrived. There is so much wisdom hidden into this quote. When we start to understand that every failure that seems, because that's how we perceive it as a failure, it's not a failure. It is an event that it's yelling sometimes at us and wants to tell us, don't go there. You don't need these. You need something better. Just please look into those three domains. Now it's my voice, not the failure's voice. Look into those three domains. You with your resources. And the second one, the strategy, the action. And the second one. And the third one, the impact and accomplishment. So make sure that accomplishment is part of you. Make sure that whatever is in you, you try to represent into the accomplishment. Don't forget about that's not only about you, but it's also about the impact. And if it becomes a little bit hard to understand more yourself, or how to not be so emotional when you reflect upon a failure or upon an event that was not what you're looking for. And if you have some emotions that are overcome or overshadowing your mind, and you can't control your mind, and your thoughts are running wild, and they're just screaming, yelling at you, you're not good enough, you're dumb, you're stupid, you're made so many mistakes. And if your mind is yelling at you these things, then you're spending your energy not in the right direction, because the mind, that's what the mind can do, but that's not what the mind is made for. So you want to look at the explorerselfmba.com, and you can see the Hack Your Mind, which is the first program. And there you can see this second one, the Wisdom Master, the Becoming, which is the Inner Alchemy. This is the second program. This one, the Inner Alchemy, is the program you want to look into if you have enjoyed today's masterclass. And I want to remind you that the first one is included in the second one. The third one is a mentorship program. If you want to get a look at it, it's a much deeper program. It takes 12 weeks. It's also a combination with a mentorship program. So if you felt that there is wisdom and meaning into today's masterclass, and you would like me to help you to go through and understand better yourself, so how can you set a vision, a mission which is aligned with your values, then feel free to contact. There is a contact form. You can send an email or just access the second program, the Inner Alchemy. There you have one session between me and you, one-on-one MBA. So go through that and see how much wisdom you actually can get from within you, already awaiting you to look and see what's more to it. So go to explorerselfmba.com, and there is where you're going to see all these three programs. For now, this is the end of today's masterclass. I thank you for your attention. Go into the description below. Share this masterclass with someone which is ambitious, which is working a lot, is working hard, have a great vision. They're on their mission, but there are so many failures, and they let themselves down, and they think that they're not enough. Or maybe that's someone that you really care for and you want to support, and you found meaning into today's masterclass. Then share it, leave a comment below, and maybe you want to also comment on an idea, something that you've taken so much out of this masterclass. If that was the case, if not, I thank you for attention. I try my best to give the value that I consider valuable for my life, for myself, so that it also serves not only me, but also serves you and everyone that is open to see different perspectives. See you at explorerselfmba.com. My name is Alexander. Thank you so much. Take care. Get things done. Accomplish great things. And we'll see each other in the next masterclass. Thank you. Bye-bye.